Hello everyone, welcome to Margee. Yesterday we discussed about UPSC optional paper 1 conducted this year. Today we will discuss about paper 2 of anthropology. Before that, we will briefly go through what key takeaways we saw yesterday, and then we will move towards our paper 2 discussion. One of the key takeaway from the paper is clearly that UPSC's previous year question paper have become more and more important. Second takeaway on the basis of source is that you must follow or go through IGNU carefully. Another source is Ember and Ember. We have seen that such kind of sources are not useful only for content but also for your articulation and anthropological terminology. Then another point we have seen that for scoring high marks, you must develop critical ability to have interlinkages between different syllabus points. And such interlinkages must also be from paper 1 and paper 2. We have seen that how in social stratification we can mention M.N. Srinivas' works of fieldwork and field view and book view. Another point we have seen is that as an subject matter of anthropology demands, you must have ample case studies, ethnographic facts and examples to substantiate your views. And another point we have seen and stress on that is that such examples and ethnographic facts should be of a recent and contemporary relevance. We can in our batch we will provide such ample ethnographic facts examples to the students. Then in many questions you can quote relevance or contemporary relevance of anthropology and how anthropologists can play a role in such scenario. Then another point I stress upon was that work of Indian anthropologists should be noted whenever possible. We have seen for that example was question of race. It was asked, is race valid and meaningful concept? There, apart from Frank Livingstone or Ashley Montague, you can mention work of B.N. Datta. B.N. Datta was nationalist anthropologist who have preferred term biotype instead of race and said that we should categorically do not use such term. Then for some questions you must look at the questions critically. Means you should apply postmodernist approach of anthropology for a deconstruction of the question. For that we have seen that question like chromosomal aberration, in that question word havoc was used, so that havoc word you can challenge. Then last point we have seen was that perception of paper differs and does not matter much in terms of what marks people obtain. Means if people perceive paper as easy, the marks can be low. If people perceive paper as hard, marks still can be very high. So Purushartha and righteous living today. Purushartha and righteous living today. So in this question, though UPSC have directly asked you what relevance of Purushartha is to righteous living today, means contemporary relevance in short has been asked, you must have thorough understanding of what exactly philosophy of Purushartha is to answer this question in a good way. Means what Hindu scriptures or the scriptures in great tradition in terms of anthropological terminology have to say about Purushartha, and this saying or this philosophy you should apply or link to the righteous living today. So we will see some examples. Means Yajnavalkal Smriti, you must have heard this name. Yajnavalkal Smriti talks about various types of dharma. Dharma is one of the four Purushartha and considered as important Purushartha among the four. So Yajnavalkal Smriti says that there are various types of dharma. One is Swadharma, one is Yuga Dharma, Manav Dharma. So you can say that this kind of philosophy is relevant for righteous living today, and today's Yuga Dharma can be of Manav Dharma. Manav Dharma can be today's Yuga Dharma. So examiner will know that you have philosophical understanding as well as you are linking with it is righteous living today. Another example we can quote is that in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, dharma is equated with truth. So in this post-truth world, dharma as a truth is relevant and very significant for righteous living. And you can mention some scholars who have done work regarding this. Means you must have heard name of V.P. Kani. He have elaborated his work in History of Dharmashastra, published in 1930. What he says that dharma in contained in Purushartha is not does not mean religion. It means code of conduct. In ethics also you have heard this term code of conduct, which is very much relevant for righteous living today. Then another Purushartha is Artha. So according to Kautilya in Arthashastra, what Artha means? It means any pursuits done by human being for their living. So how this Artha is really relevant for righteous living today? In Hindu philosophy or in Purushartha, Artha does not mean end in itself. It is means to achieve some ends. You have to earn for your other social obligations, for your fulfillment of your renas, means debt. So in contemporary world where materialism, consumerism is on rise, you can state that Purushartha, especially Artha, is relevant for righteous living today. You can also mention again Yajnavalkya. What Yajnavalkya says that Artha does not include only money, land, or your animals. It includes knowledge. It includes your friends. So, while striving for money, while starving for earth, are we balancing these things? Are we balancing our needs of mind and our needs of body that need to be assessed in terms of Purushartha for righteous living of today, righteous living of today. म्हणजे सहज म्हणायचं झालं तर केवळ अर्थासाठी जगलं जातंय की अर्थपूर्ण जगलं जातंय असा प्रश्न विचारायला आपल्याला प्रवृत्त करतं पुरुषार्थ. देन थर्ड पुरुषार्थ इज काम. So in popular connotation, kama means something related to sensual pleasure, but in what Hindu scriptures or the great Indian tradition signifies by word kama is that anything which gives anything which is related to instincts, impulses, and desires of man. So it does not related only to the sexual pleasure. So how it is related for creative and innovative society? It is must. The Vatsayan in Kama Sutra have looked at it as duty rather than only source of enjoyment. So that also you can mention. For moksha, to connect it with righteous living today, you must mention that in today's world, moksha should be seen as a social order. Means Manusmriti has says that if you balance or harmoniously coordinate three varga, means dharma, artha, and kama, you will achieve moksha. That is said in Manusmriti. Then to conclude this answer, you can say that if we balance these three varga or we harmoniously coordinate these three varga, we can achieve the social order we desire. Even our economic survey talks about ethical wealth creation. So how to achieve this ethical wealth creation? For that matter also, the role of Purushartha is important. So what is the challenge in such kind of question is that you have ample data, ample facts, but you have to substantiate this or manage this in space provided by UPSC. So the very relevant and critical point should be placed by students. One thing is clear, philosophy and righteous living today should be balanced in such question. Otherwise, marks will not be given. What will happen is that many students will focus only on righteous living today. Many students will focus only on Purushartha. That will not be relevant to this question. Then second question is relevance of tribe-caste continuum. So the tribe-caste continuum is directly from our syllabus point. So no surprise question, very easy question, but we have to apply that in present context and show its relevance to tribe-caste continuum. So first you have to answer what you mean by tribe-caste continuum. So for introduction, you can say that kind of concept is based on the folk-urban continuum of Robert Redfield. And what for Robert Redfield's concept of folk-urban continuum was that it challenged the rural and urban dichotomy. Means various analysts used to say that rural and urban are two distinct things and there are no similarities in these. But Robert Redfield, based on his fieldwork in Mexico, showed that when considered simultaneously, folk and urban society show various features which are similar, and drawing absolute boundary between them becomes very difficult. uh, Taking this concept of folk urban continuum, that concept was applied in Indian context by F.G. Bailey. He used that concept in Tribe, Caste and Nation. That book was written in 1960, and he devised that or founded while studying Pond and Oria political organization. One was caste society and one was tribe society. He said that while considering these two societies simultaneously, as in context of folk urban, it is also evident that such boundaries are also not very sharp, and blurring boundaries is the what concept of tribe caste continuum. So that this concept you have to mention in very short, and your focus should be on the relevance of tribe caste continuum. What is the relevance of tribe caste continuum? This concept first is important to understand social change and mobility in Indian society. Means yesterday we have seen that how field work and book view of Indian society differ. What big book view of Indian society was that book view was that Indian society is very static, rigid, and very rigid to change. But field view showed that social mobility, social change was present since ancient times in Indian society. Tribe, tribe caste continuum is relevant even today for showing such social change in Indian society. Second, it shows endogenous process of social change. Means in paper 2.5, there are two processes of social change: endogenous process of social change and exogenous process of social change. Tribe caste continuum is useful for understanding endogenous process of social change. We can understand better concept of Sanskritization given by M.S. Srinivas with tribe caste continuum. Another significant that you must not miss in this question is that tribe caste continuum is important to understand the process of pseudo tribalism. That is also mentioned in your syllabus. What is pseudo tribalism? Many people which are not tribals are following tribals way or taking tribals names or tribal category to acquire many benefits which are given to tribals. So this process of tribe caste continuum can show us where actually gradual changes or acculturation process naturally is happening and where the pseudo tribal tendency is there. Such kind of points you can mention here. Then you can mention about acculturation and transculturation in this answer. To understand process of acculturation and transculturation in Indian society, we can use tribe caste continuum. M.S. Srinivas focused on acculturation while D.N. Muzumdar was more concerned or more stressing on transculturation. So this kind of theoretical knowledge you have to use in this question. So it is asking relevance. Such understanding is very vital. Then next question on Harappan seal. Again, very pretty straightforward question. But in such question to fetch more marks, you have to give as many dimensions as possible. Means you can mention about Harappan seals time period in a way Harappan time period, You can mention about the nature of Harappan seals. You can mention about what Harappan seal contains, how Harappan seals are useful for deconstructions of Harappan civilization, and you can talk about the Harappan script that is present on Harappan seal, and how that Harappan script is of nature, means it is written from right to left, that is known as Bristol method. So this in such kind of question you have to give as many dimension as possible, but pretty straightforward and easy question directly from syllabus. Next question is very interesting and very good question from UPSC: caste and social capital. This question is not directly from syllabus, but you are asking for your understanding of your optional syllabus. In point 3 of paper 2, caste related many topics are there, and these topics you have to link with this concept of social capital. What is social capital? Social capital means harmony between community or various sections of the society. Means if there is more harmony, social capital is more. If there is less harmony, social capital is less. So you can approach this question in two ways. One way, you can say that caste as a system increase our social capital, and caste as a system decrease our social capital. Here, from theoretical perspective, anthropological approach of functionalism can be used. Also, to criticize it, this functional critique can be put forth. How functionalism can be used? So, functionalist thinkers or functionally aligned thinkers look at a caste as basis on reciprocity and interdependence. They do not see structure of violence contained in this system. So they say that as caste is based on reciprocity, caste is based on interdependence, and for that they give example of judge-money system. So they said that such kind of system, in a way, as it strengthens the social bond, leads to the greater social capital. You can put forth point of Iravati Karve that for many masses, in especially in rural area, caste system is nothing but a system of kinship or kin relationship. So such kind of kin relationship strengthen the bonds between various kins and leads to social capital. You can use words of M.N. Srinivas, how caste lead to vertical and horizontal solidarity. Harold Gold is one of such proponent of caste-based reciprocity and interdependence. You can criticize this view that caste means structure of violence, caste means inequality, caste means untouchability, and in a way it leads to decrease of social capital. How it leads to decrease of social capital? If you consider a rural settlement pattern, that is also our syllabus point of view. Point number 5 deals with the rural settlement. That also talks about caste-based rural settlement. So some section of the society are excluded from the social processes or social interactions, and it invariably leads to decrease in social capital. So this kind of analysis, so this answer should not be looking like a GS answer. It should be anthropologically sound answer. Anthropology terminology should be there in such kind of answer. You can mention that Harold Gold has mentioned that caste system or caste are monopolistic guilds. As caste are monopolistic guilds, occupational specialization happen. What means occupational specialization? Particular caste is doing some particular work. So this kind of specialization in a way lead to more better social capital that also can be used. So you have to show that what things happen: social capital decrease, social capital increase. Your answer should not be biased toward one view and should balance these two views, make it. Then another question in compulsory question: factionalism and politics in rural India. This is also application of your anthropological knowledge, though directly not in the syllabus. It is very much needed to understand such kind of concept by anthropology students. So here also, what should our analysis point of view should be there? You should show how caste-based politics leads to factionalism, how religion and politics work that lead to factionalism. For that, you can use Rajni Kotari's analysis. Rajni Kotari in Caste in Indian Politics, that is published in 1970, talks about politicization of caste and casteism of politics. So these keywords terminology should be there in your answer to make it more marks fetching. Then you can mention about how role of dominant caste, that is the concept given in your syllabus, leads to factionalism. Means dominant caste have some vested interest, and they, what, because of their power and because of they having hold over resources, manipulate kind of relationship in the society and make ruptures in the society. Also recent thinkers can be mentioned. Means apart from Rajni Kotari, you should have some recent analysis. For that, Satish Deshpande is one scholar. Then study by Sanjay and Geeta Mishra in 2015 can be noted, how politics in the rural India led to the factionalism. So here you have to balance your syllabus point, the studies done by the scholars, and that studies should be of contemporary relevance. Then the next question, 2A, critically discuss the origin of India's Indus Valley civilization. Mention the evidence of its indigenous origin from the pre-Harappan sites. Again, straightforward question from the syllabus and very predictable question also. Here, student have to just focus on the word endogenous origin. Why endogenous origin is significant here? Previous thinkers, especially Western scholars, used to stress on the exogenous origin of Harappan civilization. They used to say that Harappan civilization have foreign origin or is imitation of the some foreign or Western cultures. But pre-Harappan site showed that Harappan civilization is endogenous and have endogenous origin. So on this basis, you have to do analysis of this question. Next question is also of archaeology. Give distribution and characteristics of features of upper Paleolithic culture in India. So if we consider question paper of 2020, 2021, clearly visible one thing is there, that questions related to archaeology are on the rise. So student must be thorough in archaeology part. Specific and minute details UPSC is asking, means they have not asked entire Paleolithic culture, they have asked only upper Paleolithic culture. Last year they asked about contribution of Mishra and contribution of Robert Brucefield. So this kind of question on the rise. So for that, one source is Indian prehistory by D.K. Bhattacharya. This one book is very crucial and important. But problem with this book is that its language is very technical and difficult to grasp. So many students feel that this book is not manageable. For them, another source which I stressed yesterday is IGNOU. Means IGNOU have different kinds of booklets related to archaeological anthropology. Means this is block number 7 related to Neolithic revolution, Neolithic regional variants, Paleolithic culture, megalithic culture. These 4 or 5 booklets of IGNOU are there. Language of IGNOU is much easy to grasp than the D.K. Bhattacharya. So student can prefer on their understanding source from this. In contemporary times, various questions of archaeology are directly picked from IGNOU sources. So at least you should go through this. In our batch, we will specifically focus on these archaeological sources so student can have comprehensive understanding of these terms. So these 2 questions and another question discuss the morphological features of and phylogenetic position of Ramapithecus. These are also direct question, nothing much to discuss, directly from the syllabus and available in various written sources also. 3A, that is 20 mark question, explain the impact of concept of nature man spirit complex on sustainable use of natural resources with suitable examples. In this question, apart from having understanding of the syllabus points and concept of nature man script complex, you should align your answer according to the demand of the question or what is asked. Means you have to show how this concept is related to sustainable use of natural resources. And one thing is clear is that the examiner or the paper asks you to substantiate with suitable examples. So all must be aware that nature man script complex is given by LP Vidyarthi in his work The Maler NMS Complex of Hill Tribes of Bihar in 1963. But as question specifically asks you to give various examples, you should have understanding of various other studies done on nature man spirit complex. So what are the various other studies? One is Pradeep Singh study of nature man spirit complex in Maler after 20 years of Vidyarthis. Then another thinker who worked there was Das Gupta study of Ho tribe. He found that nature man spirit complex working there, the Das Gupta in Ho tribe. He found that rituals, even love making or various festivals were aligned with the nature. Another case study is R.K. Sinha study of Pando tribe. Pando tribe is found in Sarguja district of MP, studied by R.K. Sinha. In this tribe, you will find or R.K. Sinha found that this Pando tribe was living in complete harmony in the nature. Even the delivery of woman was aligned with the natural and spiritual component or spirit component. Then another study is S.G. Morab's Soliga tribe. Soliga tribe in Karnataka. There S.G. Morab studied this concept of nature means spirit complex, and he found that even socialization of the tribes, socialization of children of Soliga was nature based. In paper 1, UPSC this year asked about deep ecology, and in afternoon session there was a paper of paper 2. So you must be sharp enough to use such kind of concept in paper 2 also while writing. Pick such words and say that in Soliga we find that concept of deep ecology is imbibed from childhood in the children's as socialization process is nature based. So it will also show your sharpness and alertness towards the various perspectives. Then R.S. Mann study of Onge tribes of Little Andaman and Bhilla tribe of Rajasthan. Both these tribes were studied by R.S. Mann. So as question categorically demands you to give suitable examples, one case study will not be enough. You have to be prepared for such kind of case studies. And I understand that such time to accumulate or to gather such kind of case studies by one single student is not feasible because of time constraints, but we will provide that in our class and we will have a discussion related to those. Then the second question in 3, examine the contribution of S.C. Roy in highlighting the role of customary laws in a tribal life. Two questions related to Indian anthropologists was asked directly. One in 3b, that is S.C. Roy's contribution, and 4a, discuss the contribution of N.K. Bose in understanding tribal communities and their place in Indian civilization. That was asked for 20 marks. For these kind of questions, most of the students neglect the part 4 or point 4 of syllabus in paper 2 related to Indian anthropologists. But as we discussed yesterday, quoting the work of Indian anthropologist will also be useful for paper 1. So you must have a comprehensive study of these thinkers. For that, one recently published source, that is published in 2021, one book is there, Architects of Anthropology in India. Architects of Anthropology in India, published in 2021, edited by Sarthak Senagupta, is useful and given many an Indian anthropologist. Here in S.C. Roy, how can you introduce this answer? You can say that S.C. Roy is important figure in Indian anthropology, especially in the formative phase of Indian anthropology. Here, as specifically, it is asking you to highlight the role of customary laws in tribal life. You must apply your knowledge of paper 1 here. Means in political organization, you must be aware or heard that in political anthropology there are two stream of classes or two stream of thoughts. One thought mention that one thought is traditional scholars or traditional thinking, and second is analytical thinking. What traditional thinking school says that it says that the primitive tribes or simple tribes, simple societies lack laws, elaborate laws as found in modern societies. So these societies are lawless, and even if there is a system of justice delivery, then it is based on violent means. So this is kind of ethnocentric or narrow view about the political organization of primitive or simple societies like tribes. What analytical school says that it says that primitive societies or simple society, irrespective of their level of achievement or progress, they always have laws. So keeping this background in mind, you can say that S.T. Roy, while doing exceptional work in formative phase of Indian anthropology, was oriented towards or represented the analytical thinking of political anthropology. Then his work in the Mundas and their nation, you can mention the monograph of the Kharia, how it elaborated the customary laws in Indian tribal life, written in 1937. You can mention he again and again reiterated the need of having anthropological sound training to the administrator to have understanding of role of customary laws. So these kind of theory questions like 3b and 4a you cannot answer if you have sound understanding of these thinkers. So also these thinkers can be used in a variety of answers, so you must be prepared. Architect of Indian anthropology is one such source to cover this question. PC is a question related to critically assess the impact of Christianity on tribal culture and identity. Critically assess the impact of Christianity on tribal culture and identity. So this is again directly straightforward question from your syllabus. Contemporary researches and contemporary reports will be vital in such kind of means. To give example, one report published in 2021, that is Pew Research Survey, says that tribal 24% of tribals in India are Christians. So if you introduce your answer with such contemporary understanding or contemporary research, it will show the examiner that you have well studied and you are sound anthropologically. Here most of the material is available. You can mention work of Hemendorf, you can mention work of K.N. Sahai. You have to show the both aspects, positive and negative. But to make this answer more sound anthropologically, what you can do is that it is asking impact on tribal culture. So various cultural institutions can be analyzed separately. Means institution of marriage, how it affecting positively and negatively, how institution of family is affecting positively negatively. Means in tribals, after impact of Christianity, the religious overtone of marriage gather significant. So this kind of sectional analysis of socio-cultural institutions will give you added advantage rather than just going by conventional way of positive and negative points or positive dimension of negative dimensions. So this kind of thinking should also be there in your while you are preparing for your optional. Then 4b for incubus, this is also very much content based question. 4b, discuss the role of Panchayat Raj institution in transforming traditional power hierarchy in rural India. So again from syllabus point, Panchayat Raj institution and social change. But in social change, they have categorically asked one important change, that is additional power hierarchy in rural India. For traditional power hierarchy, here also you have to analyze from various dimensions like gender dimension, and also give that how the role of institutions in transforming traditional gender power hierarchy is working. Means you can quote work of Bohonet. She has written one book, Gender Equality by What Works Gender Equality by Design in 2016. Again, a contemporary or a near past study, what works gender equality by design. So in that, Bonnet says that by looking at the woman lead, many women in rural area have acquired courage or have acquired confidence, and they are interacting in social sphere more confidently. They have more dignified life than they previously thought. You can counter this. Also, the work of Poonam Chauhan and Gulnar Sharma also substantiate this view. So these are recent examples. This work of Poonam Chauhan was in 2015. You can quote such work to make your answer more relevant to the contemporary time. Then you can show that how this role of Panchayat Raj institution is limited. Means we have, as a student of anthropology, we can observe that though Panchayat Raj institution has given reservation or placed women in leadership role, we observe in a rural area that Sarpanch Beta, Sarpanch Pati is clearly visible. So this critical analysis you can given here. Then moving further, you can also mention of what second ARC has to talk about Panchayat Raj institution. Second ARC says that devolution and democracy are two different things. What is devolution? You are devolving some powers to the lower strata. Devolution without strengthening the root of a democracy in rural area. What you are devolving? You are just devolving power to the upper strata, means dominant caste. So this is the analysis of second IRC that you can state in the limitations of the Panchayat Raj institution in transforming the traditional power hierarchy. Apart from gender, what analysis is needed here? You should analyze it from the perspective of SC, ST also, and minority also. Then moving forward further, question 4C. Elucidate the problems and challenges in educational attainment of the scheduled tribes. Again, very straightforward and pretty easy question from the 6.2 of your syllabus of paper 2, which talks about various problems of tribal scheduled tribes in India. First, you have to show that examiner you know what means by scheduled tribes. Means it is not anthropological term, scheduled tribes. So just briefly mention that it is administrative term, scheduled tribes, and then enumerate the problems and challenges in educational attainment. Multidimensional views should be given. One very much needed precaution in such kind of question is that this question should be 100% anthropologically oriented. Means you have to mention Debar Commission, you have to mention work of S.N. Rath, you have to mention work like thinkers like Sharma. Then you have to give work of scholars like Sukhdev Thorat, who have talked about the problems of tribal communities. You can mention the reports of Zaza Committee, who talk about the problems, especially in conflict-prone area of tribals in their educational attainment. Also, such question should be substantiated with the ample justification with the help of ethnographic fact. One Ghasia tribe is there in Uttar Pradesh. Human Rights Watch have observed that such tribal children of Ghasia tribes were made to sit differently in the class. So this kind of discrimination tribals face. Then you can mention nomadic tribes like Bakriwals, Gadi in northwest, which due to the transhuman nature of their economy are not able to attain the educational institutions. So this kind of analysis is there. Multiple dimensions should be there to substantiate your view. As this is a pretty straightforward question, you have to give many dimensions to fetch more marks than the others. Going further, another set of compulsory questions that you have to attend. These compulsory set of questions are more application oriented, and here you have to write these answers more anthropological terms, though they look more related to GS related topics. Means urbanization and tribal institution, that is the first question in compulsory fifth question. So here you can briefly talk about what is urbanization means by sociological and anthropological perspective. The definition given by Anderson is very comprehensive and very relevant in this context. Means he talks about urbanization is not only movement of people from rural to urban area and change of occupation from say agriculture to trade. It also means the change in attitude, belief, morals of the those migrated people. So in this context means it is not only economical process of urbanization, it is also social process. You can show how tribal institutions are changing due to this social process. So various tribal processes, tribal institution you can quote. First institution obviously is family. Means due to urbanization and opportunities in urban area, or sometimes due to forced migration, many tribals are moving to urban areas. So moving, it is not leading to disintegration of the family system as a whole. Various thinkers point that tribal families, though are not that much unified in previously, are not structurally isolated. Means these tribal, though migrated in urban area, move to again their native places for religious festivals, for other customary or religious activities. So these activities maintain their kinship bonds and maintain their tribal institutions. Though decline is there, but it's not lead to disintegration of the institution. Another institution you can mention is that of political institution of tribals. I mean, Rajendra Singh have studied the urbanization and urbanization process and how it is affecting tribals. So he have shown that due to urbanization, the traditional political institutions like Pahato and Manto are on declining. Means their role is on decline. Why this is so? Consider one tribal going from his native place to urban area. Here he must be working somewhere in some establishment or some factory. So there are some trade unions, some political organization working. So these tribals are coming under the influence of these persons or these institutions. So there is consequently the decline of their political traditional organizations. Then in tribal institutions, you can mention about institution of socializations of Ghotul, which is youth dormitory, which is on decline. You can mention of economic organization like market. Economic organization is not only for tribals economic, it also reflection of tribal culture, tribal society, various kind of cultural activity happen in such kind of market due to a role of money or market economy. This kind of tribal institution of economic system is on decline. At the same time, tribals are taking advantages of changes in economic system. Means uh, Rajendra Singh also, sorry, Das Gupta have shown that due to urbanization, there is a demand for vegetables and demands of urban needs, which are fulfilled by the tribals. Means previously tribals were cultivating something else, and due to the vegetable demand for urban area, they are now cultivating vegetables. Is so you have to analyze various tribal institutions, how it is affecting both positively and negatively. Though you should not everywhere just write positive negative, but rather than more critical analysis of these aspects should be there. Another application oriented question 5b, ethnic media and social awareness. So this is from our point 5, 5.3 specifically of syllabus paper 2. What many students do is that they focus on the modern media as a social change. As syllabus mentioned, media as a Media and social change. Students usually neglect ethnic media. UPSC has categorically and directly asked what is role of ethnic media in social awareness. So this answer should not be also dealt with only in GS manner. You should mention various ethnic media. India have rich cultural tradition or cultural capital of ethnic media. Means there are various dance forms, various plays, various tribal ways to communicate. This should be mentioned here. For this analysis, again, I will stress that just ask in examination hall why this question must have been asked by the UPSC. Means ethnic media and social awareness. What is relevance or contemporary relevance of UPSC asking this question in UPSC Mains 2021 that is happening in 2022? The point is that ethnic media is totally and very much relevant in today's world. You can show that in COVID-19, many tribals were not able to understand what government guidelines are, what these functionaries are telling to take, what precautions are there they are telling tell to tribals. Study done by New Mexico Highland Society to specific one anthropology study was done by New Mexico Highland Society University, and that study was done on Navajo tribes. They stress that due to inability of Navajo to understand the guidelines of related to COVID-19, COVID became severe in this tribe. So, what government can have done? It can have used ethnic media to create social awareness related to this kind of contemporary problems. So, this question can be answered in two ways: means in history or in various uh, stages, how the ethnic media is used to create social awareness and how it is relevant for the contemporary social awareness also. So, this is the analysis of this means you have to be thoroughly understanding why the question is coming to the this year means. Then 5C cultural diversity and multiculturalism. This question again looks like a very general and GS question. You have to use various anthropological terms and approaches to write this answer. Means you have to first show what is difference between cultural diversity and multiculturalism. Cultural diversity is there is existence of various cultural sections or cultural community in the society. Means there is a religious diversity, there is caste based diversity. This kind of diversity is there in particular society, then that can be so called as cultural diversity. But if any society is having that cultural diversity as their way of living, and they have accepted that cultural diversity as a value system, they means what they are following is an anthropological term cultural relativism, then it becomes multiculturalism. You can give example of India which is more aligned towards the multiculturalism. Again, as I said in previous question, you must give examiner impression that this question is also relevant to the contemporary times. Means you can say this in question that in today's globalizing world, in today's globalizing world, Indian model of multiculturalism, Indian model of multiculturalism is not only relevant but very useful, and it stressed that various societies should go merely by accepting the diversities to to make it way of life. So this kind of example you can link it with the globalization. As this question is asked on the paper 2, you should give analysis from Indian perspective more in this question to have answer according to the demand of the question. Then the question 5D concept of tribe and Indian census. This is again a very good question from the UPSC, more application oriented and testing aspirants' ability or test aspirants' depth of the understanding. On YouTube, there is one series of lecture taken by V.K. Srivastava. V.K. Srivastava, eminent Indian anthropologist in contemporary times. In that video lectures, we have discussed this problem of concept of tribe and Indian census in elaborate manner. Means what by census Indian administrators or government demand is that you should give to us for administrative purpose, for clear identification purpose, a clear cut concept of tribe. But if you look at the various definition given by the anthropologists, there are a variety of definitions which contradict one another. It is not possible to give administratively feasible definition to the administrators. Also, V.K. Srivastava says that this concept of tribe is colonial construct. Means colonial rurals devise this term which do not signify reality in Indian society. Colonial construct why? Because they have to segregate or categorize some kind of people in a definite category for their advantage. Means certain kind of society or certain kind of communities which were not part of Indian society or isolated from mainstream were given the tag of tribe. And this census operation year after every decade have created more consciousness of the concept of tribe. Same analysis can be applied to the Indian caste system. Means there is book by Urusula Sharma about caste, uh, which talk about how census operation by Britishers created caste consciousness and caste became situated in the minds of people. They became very properly schooled in certain kind of answers. Means when census operators come, they have to be schooled to answer such kind of uh, if they ask to what caste they belong, they have to school for that. So this this debate is there behind this question. So if you do not know this debate, you will write general answer. Means you will write what is concept of tribe. You will write what is Indian census, which will not phase you marks. What former Director General of Anthropological Survey of India says that we should avoid use of word tribe, caste, jati. Instead, he used word samudaya, community. Those people having we feeling as a alternative to the concept of tribe. So also one Indian anthropologist is there, A. Ayyappan, who says that what tribe is, it is what competent anthropologists think that it is a tribe. Means one competent anthropologist do fieldwork in particular tribe and they found that this is the characteristics which define this tribe, then that is the, contained in the concept of tribes. He also very validly pointed not even biologists can give precise and clear cut definition of species. Thus, like that only, anthropologists can also do not give concept of tribe in definite manner. So, for this kind of analysis, for this kind of more multidimensional analysis of caste tribe, you have to explore other area than your book, which will be provided or which will we will analyze in our class also. For caste also, which is next question about politics of recognition and deprivation, which is more related to caste based analysis. Here you can look at this question from the 2 points. Means how deprivation leads to the politics of recognition. Means due to deprivation, various social strata or social community demand politics come forward with politics of recognition. Here you can mention Dalit assertion. You can mention demand of gender-based representation or recognition in politics. Also, you can critically show examiner that how politics of recognition done by various lower strata leads to deprivation. This is interesting. Why? You must have studied from Sanskritization that when a particular lower strata strive for upward mobility, there is repercussion or increased atrocities from the upper or dominant caste. Such kind of atrocities or further repercussions can be seen from politics of recognition. Means, if any community in your village is playing or striving for recognition, then those having control over resources, social and economic resources, can strive for their deprivation. So this kind of critical analysis where deprivation leading to politics of recognition, at the same time politics of recognition leading to the deprivation can be maintained, can be written here. Moving further, question 6a for 20 marks was discuss the impact of Forest Rights Act 2006 on the livelihood and culture of tribal people in India. So it is also directly from the syllabus point. Forest policies are there in point 6.3. So student must be thoroughly prepared in such. But such question will not fetch you mark if you do not have contemporary case studies, contemporary examples to substantiate your views. So again reiterating the point that you must have contemporary researches of each syllabus point with you. Here you can start your answer with the work of R.C. Verma. R.C. Verma, in his Indian Tribes Through Ages, written in 1990, talk about how Indian government's forest law after independence were exact replica or on similar line to that of Britishers and lead to exploitation of the Indian tribes. So you can say that that approach was changed by enactment of Forest Right Act 2006, and it was more right based and entitlement based approach for the tribals. Then with recent case studies and recent uh, cases and examples, you can say how it is affecting livelihood and culture of tribal people in India. So it is students responsibility to search for this. In our batch we will provide such case studies to the student. 6b, examine the factors responsible for malnutrition in tribal India and suggest intervention required to overcome the problem. This question again directly from syllabus point 6.2, where directly problem related to tribal health and nutrition is mentioned. So while analyzing this question or writing this question, again I am saying that you have to give multidimensional views to the answer, and one way of giving multidimensional view to the problem of malnutrition is to show that problem of malnutrition is itself multidimensional. You must have heard the term triple burden of malnutrition. Triple burden of malnutrition. One dimension is that there is less food to eat, means there is stunting, there is wasting, then there is excess of food leading to obesity, or no proper diet is followed so that there are more intake of carbohydrates or certain ingredients and no balance is there. Third point or third dimension of malnutrition is that hidden hunger. What is hidden hunger? It means certain vital micronutrients are lacking in the diet or food. It means zinc is not there, vitamins are not there. So these kinds of points should be noted and various problems should be mentioned. So as this point is directly from the syllabus, many students should have prepared it beforehand. To understand the severity, I can tell you one example quoted by P. Sainath. You must have heard P. Sainath for his work. Everyone loves good draft. त्यात मराठीत भाषांतर त्याचं दुष्काळ आवडे सर्वांना असं झालेलं आहे. So this scholar or tribal activist P. Sainath visited one tribal school in the morning session, and that day was Monday. He was shocked that on Monday in morning, students were having midday meal that was meant to be given in afternoon in the morning itself. So he asked students, teachers, why midday meal is given in the morning session also only. Teacher said that after school on Saturday, many tribal students were not having food in their home till the Monday. So we cannot teach them till they have some kind of food in their stomach. This is the severity of India. What we have seen is that somewhere we have food swamps, means ample food, and somewhere we have food desert, means people barely can manage food to eat. Point 6c. Delineate the factors influencing the fertility in Indian population. Again, pretty straightforward question. Syllabus point in paper 2 is point 2, which leads directly mentioned in your syllabus, factors influencing fertility in Indian population. How you can make it more anthropological and more mark question is that you can use theories in paper 1. In point 11 in paper 1, there is a point called demographic theories. These theories you can apply in Indian context for factors affect influencing fertility in Indian population. Means you can mention that theory of social capillarity given by Arsene Dumont in 1890. Social capillarity, Arsene Dumont. What Arsene Dumont says that when parents have desire to have social mobility upward, they will keep their number of children limited, because lower higher strata they can achieve with minimum children and higher standard of living. This is social capillarity theory that you can mention here. Also, comprehensive factors of political, economic, social, cultural have to be mentioned in this answer, like son meta preference in Indian society. People keep having children till they have male child. What is implied is son meta preference. These are the requirement of this question to have multidimensional answer. 7a. Explain the impact of successive land acquisition acts on tribal social organization. Explain impact of successive land acquisition acts on tribal social organization. This is a bit difficult and tricky question, because in this question you have to substantiate your answer with various sections of this land acquisition act to make it more precise. Rather than having general knowledge about these acts, precise understanding of the sections or provisions of these acts will fetch you more marks, as this is for 20 marks. So technical details on land acquisition of Act of 1894, technical details on land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement Act of 2013 should be there to substantiate this answer. These technical details are usually not found in the mainstream or popular resource material used by student, but we will have this in our lecture series. As this is a pretty technical question, there is nothing to discuss in the structure per se. In question 7b, discuss the problem involved in rehabilitation and resettlement of tribals displaced due to the development projects in India. Again, from syllabus point directly, discuss the problems involved in the rehabilitation and resettlement of tribals displaced due to the development projects in India. Anthropologists say that development projects, which are considered as the temples of modern India, have proved to be temples of doom for tribal people or displaced people. You can start this answer with very sound data of what is exactly the nature of displacement, how displacement is affecting, and then you can say what is the problems involved in rehabilitation and resettlement. Means one study conducted by Bharati and Kothari in 1984 regarding Sardar Sarovar project showed the what is the situation of rehabilitation and resettlement. For that project, there was one colony in Kavadia. In that colony, some construction workers and officers who are doing that construction of Sardar Sarovar project were having temporary camps. So that temporary camps was built in a cost यूज फॉर 1 लाख ट्रायबल्स पीपल्स रिसेटलमेंट. म्हणजे 1 लाख लोकांसाठी रिसेटलमेंटसाठी ज्या पैसे वापरण्यात आले तेवढे पैसे फक्त टेम्पररी कॅम्प ऑफिसरसाठी बांधण्यात वापरण्यात आला. हे काय दाखवतं की रिसेटलमेंटचं लेवल और रिसेटलमेंटची गव्हर्नमेंटची कमिटमेंट दाखवून दिली. You can use work of B.D. Sharma here. He have very elaborately discussed the problems involved in rehabilitation and resettlement, and also he have given various way forward for this also. One interesting thing is that H.M. Mathur also point out that word resettlement is not found in many tribal languages. This is irony of the situation. Those people not having the word resettlement in their vocabulary are being displaced forcefully due to the development projects. Last year UPSC asked about problems or impacts of displacement due to development projects. This year they asked about problems involved in rehabilitation and resettlement. So again previous year question paper became important. This is again important and very good question asked by UPSC. 7C. Discuss the intervention made by non-lecture. He talked about one dimension. He said that anthropologist or student of anthropology should never miss gender dimension of anything. Here also UPSC have categorically focused on the gender dimension of role of non-governmental organization. Here you must have ample case studies and works of non-governmental organization specifically for empowering tribal women. Means you can quote work of Action Aid NGO working for upliftment of Yanadi tribals. What they have done that they have formed one self-help group or cooperative of these women and made them economically self-sufficient, economically empowered. Then there is one Adivasi Mahila Vikas Mandal that can be quoted. So this is also shows that you must have very pretty wider understanding of various sections of your syllabus point. This question cannot be answered if you have very less examples or studies. Then question 8, last section of the set of the questions. 8A, examine how structural transformation in economy is affecting traditional social relationship in agrarian society. Examine how structural transformation in economy is affecting traditional social relationship in agrarian society. Yesterday I have discussed this question in short, that how cultural materialism, approach of cultural materialism given by Marvin Harris in the rise of anthropological theory, that is in 1968, can be quoted here for introduction to show that how transformation in economy, that is transformation in infrastructure, is affecting social structure and superstructure, that is affecting traditional social relationship in agrarian society. Here you have to analyze Jajmani system. Means a Jajmani system is based on the barter system mostly, but now study by Chand and Srivastav in 2014 showed that those involved in this Jajmani system or Kamins involved in this Jajmani system are demanding cash-based employment. They are demanding cash. So it is due to the influence of market economy, traditional Jajmani and Jajman Kamin relations has been influencing. Then you should have analysis of dominant caste. Means as previously economic opportunities were less, dominant caste in such scenario used to manipulate this situation for their advantage, for their vested advantage, which is not possible as Kamins or for that matter low caste can move out of such relationship, social relationship, and move towards other productive economic activities. This flexibility is achieved due to the structural transformation in economy. To make it more relevant to the contemporary times, contemporary village studies should be quoted. Means there is one book published in 2019, very relevant and contemporary for us, that is India's Villages in 21st Century. It was edited by Surendra Jodhkar. India's Villages in 21st Century, edited by Surendra Jodhka, and he talks about how the transformation in economy or how changes in a village economy is related to the farmer suicide. So such kind of analysis or recent studies should be there, or answer to make it more marks fetching. Question 8b, delineate the constitutional safeguards for religious minorities in India. Very straightforward, easy question from to the point from the syllabus. Question, point number 5.2 in your syllabus, constitutional safeguards for religious minorities. Fetch marks in such question. You must be specific and there must not be any error, factual error for that matter, in such question. You can introduce your answer by saying that religious minorities in India are recognized according to section 2C of National Commission for Minorities Act 1952, and then you can show how constitutional safeguards are there for the religious minority so that the multicultural democracy can strive and have result orientation and vibrant nature. For this, Article 29.1 is there, Article 29.2 is there, Article 30 subsection 1, Article 30 subsection 2. Then you can mention about Article 325, which talks about universal adult franchise, who talks about Article 15, which prohibits state from on the basis of religious discrimination. So this very factual question. 8c, identify the causes of tribal unrest with the special reference to Northeast India. Identify the causes of tribal unrest with special reference to Northeast India. Again, directly from the syllabus, point 8.2, identify causes of tribal unrest. Tribal unrest is mentioned in your syllabus. Here also you have to give multidimensional answer to fetch good marks. And this answer, as everyone know the reasons for tribal unrest, you should give another perspective. You can say in the end of the answer how anthropology or anthropologist can play a role in such kind of situations. It is said by the scholars or various writers that tribal unrest or tribals have voice, but mainstream society do not have ears to listen them. Here, anthropologists can become voice as well as ears of the tribals. What it means to be ears of the tribals, they can listen to their grievances, and becoming wise means they can channelize these grievances to government or to authorities in a very proper manner, as anthropological approach is based on relativism, felt need approach. They can very well do this work. So can be more uh, positive contribution of anthropology than becoming ear and as well as voice of the tribals. So this was the paper, how to approach is the, and we have also seen what are the key points to fetch the good marks. We will have some kind of discussions related to anthropology in this manner. If anyone having some kind of doubt, they can ask.